The Final Fantasy series is an anthology where you don't need to play one game in order to understand or appreciate another game in the series. You can start anywhere, anytime. In the last video, we talked about Final Fantasy IV, so today we're going to talk about Final Fantasy V and 3 reasons why I think it might be a great starting place in the series for you, and 3 reasons why it might not. So let's start with the pros. Pro number 1 is arguably the best job system in the whole series. If you're the kind of player who loves to tinker with builds, Final Fantasy V is paradise. It expands massively on Final Fantasy III's job system, letting you switch jobs freely, mix and match abilities, and create powerful, weird, or just plain fun combinations. Want a monk that casts black magic? A white mage who can dual wield axes? Go for it. Final Fantasy V rewards experimentation by granting you powerful synergies and making each level up feel well deserved. Pro number 2 is that it's deeply strategic, yet it's still accessible. Final Fantasy V strikes a rare balance. It's mechanically deep, but not overwhelming. You don't need to be an expert to enjoy the systems, but mastering them feels incredibly satisfying. Bosses often push you to rethink your loadout and approach, which gives the game a puzzle-like feel. It's an ideal first game for someone who loves gameplay and wants to dig deep into Final Fantasy's more flexible side without sacrificing clarity or fun. And pro number 3 is its lighthearted tone with an epic scope. Unlike the more dark melodrama of Final Fantasy IV and even Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy V begins with a breezy comedic vibe. Characters joke around, there's a chocobo with a real personality, and the plot doesn't take itself too seriously. Until it suddenly does. As the story unfolds, it shifts towards higher emotional stakes and dramatic twists, giving players a slow build to a classic Final Fantasy emotional payoff. It's definitely a nice entry point for those who prefer a game that doesn't start out too heavy. But like every game in the series, not a single one of them is perfect, so let's talk about the cons. And con number 1 for some is that the story and the characters are going to lack that impact compared to other games in the series. While the story is charming, it's also a lot lighter and arguably a lot less memorable than maybe some of its neighboring entries. The characters have personality, but they don't have that emotional arc or cinematic presence that define fan favorites like Cecil or Terra. If someone's looking to experience what makes Final Fantasy stories iconic, this one might feel a bit underwhelming. And con number 2, though it is accessible, yes, the system is brilliant, but it's also a little complex and a bit front-loaded. A new player might have that feeling of choice paralysis, unsure of which jobs are viable and how to build effective teams. Without a guide, it's easy to waste time grinding the wrong setups or miss cool combos entirely. And con number 3 is the difficulty spikes without warning. Like other games of this era, Final Fantasy V does have a reputation for surprise difficulty spikes, especially in boss fights that require a very specific counter, like status immunities or elemental protection. If your party isn't prepared, you may hit a wall and you might need to backtrack and regrind. That trial and error loop can be frustrating for a first-time player. But let me know down in the comments below whether or not you're planning on starting your Final Fantasy journey with Final Fantasy V. If you're not planning on starting here, let me know also where you're planning on starting. Maybe if you've already started the series, let me know in the comments where you started playing these games. And with all of that said, I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.